I know that sometimes we think of landscape painting as kind of a niche kind of thing that only some people did, but if you look at people like Edvard Munch, this is all his landscape painting. He was an amazing landscape painter. Yes, he's famous for his figurative work and the Scream, but really he did some of my favorite landscape paintings. And most artists do because it's the sense of place is important to capture. It's a great way to work with light and space and depth. But and you forget like how many like Klimt. Yes, he's famous for The Kiss, but really he had a remarkable landscape painting. Career too. And if you look at this, this is almost like an abstraction more than a landscape painting. So I'm just showing you these to give you ideas of what you might want to do tomorrow night. And luckily, there's a wide range of influences throughout the years of the way people approach this idea of how do you paint a place, a city, an ocean scene, a mountaintop, a prairie. Look at all of these amazing ways you can approach it. You can be completely graphic or simple or very complicated, very realistic, very abstract. So I'm showing you these to hopefully, maybe trigger something in you. Like, I love that. And then we can work on that tomorrow together to get you to that place. Um, but yeah, there's just a wide range of types of scenes. And so start thinking about, do you want to do your small town or a beach, tropical forest, whatever. There's so many varieties, so many ways you can simplify it. You can play with it, you can make it look surreal, you can abstract it. But basically, I want you to come in tomorrow with an actual place with a foreground and a background, and maybe a sky, and maybe a ground, buildings or a street, something that we can work on creating some depth in. I hope you saw some inspiration in the eye candy. So let's talk about some of the tricks that painters use to create depth in a landscape, which is our goal often. You put the larger, more detailed objects in the front, and then as you move back, the objects get smaller and there's less details. That just mirrors the way that our eye sees things. So, yeah, when we're painting, we want to do that. We want to do a foreground focus, can help sometimes if you have large items in the front. Makes the viewer feel like they're there. A cliff, a boulder, a tree, something that establishes that we are close to that object and it's bigger. And that really helps to create depth. That's kind of a trick that a lot of landscape painters you see using because it works. So then you can go lighter to darker or darker to lighter. And again, that's kind of how we see the world. It's almost like atmospheric. So you do the ombre approach. You put gradation, and that will help you to create depth. You can add an S-curve or a path. You see that very frequently in landscape paintings because, again, that way you narrow it as it moves back, and that mirrors perspective and how we see the world. So those are some tricks you can do, even if they're not in the painting you're bringing in. Maybe you want to consider adding them to help create depth. I often add this next one, overlapping areas and diagonals. I often do that, even if there's not diagonals in it or something that's overlapping, I'll add that to add depth. So see all these diagonals, it just kind of zigzags your eyes back into the background. Or you can decide to follow none of these rules and make abstract artworks like these by George Morrison, who was an amazing painter. Yeah, so you can really just play with the rules. Matisse or Kandinsky, they often flattened it. Yeah, and there are some fun contemporary painters that I wanted to share quickly to show how what landscape painting kind of is today. It's often with figures in part of it. Kerry James Marshall, I would say some people say this is figurative work, but I think of it as landscape work with maybe some people in it. I'm not sure what he thinks of it. Celeste Dupree Spencer also often has figures in it, but really these are landscapes. These are seas and mountaintops. Jules de Belancourt does these really great nocturnes often. If you want to do a nighttime piece, that's great. I can help you mix a certain palette for that. Maybe you have a moon over the ocean. Brad Kalheimer does these awesome kind of watery landscapes. I wanted to include some kind of pop art, almost modern contemporary pop art, and some Kiefer's dealing with, dark subjects. He often does these really bleak post-apocalyptic. And then there's Kay Walkenstick, who deals with the fact that a lot of the landscapes in this show she did anyway, a lot of landscapes that we are painting have been colonized and taken, um, you know, not treated well by some of the people who came and took them. So that's a whole nother aspect of that, which is really interesting that some contemporary artists are doing. So yeah, we will see you tomorrow. Bring in an idea or a photo of what you want to paint. Okay, bye.